Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mokanaman at YouTube with another modelling video. 2014 is coming to a draw, and of late it's been quite a popular segment of a few online modelers to show off their achievements and lot built in the past 12 months. And even though I did take a break and had a few work difficulties this year, to my surprise, I've actually had a large output of models, even though it has not been such a big output on the channel, excluding the last few months. So let's have a look at some of the things that I've been involved community-wise, as well as the models that I've built and how I've learnt and grown as a hobbyist. Now, it would have been noticed that I run the Mecca Workshop Club in Australia. We're a small group that get together, build Gundam models and attend events and run workshops. Last year it had been noticed that we didn't have our annual manifest video, as a large incident occurred that involved the shutdown of the event and us being removed and almost actually collapsing as a club. We relied off their event and resources to meet monthly. Afterwards, it was arranged that we would merge and transfer to the Menshed network and got further opportunities to expand rapidly to a much larger group, as well as attend a lot more events and run larger workshops. It also led us to have the freedom to interact with the newer clubs popping up in Melbourne. These groups, who normally share members, being Gundam Club Australia and the Gundam Universe store. With the three groups together, the community has grown tenfold in the past 12 months, as well as attending the Australian Open Model Expo and member Mark, MOTD, winning Best of Show, which is a massive jump for the global Gunpla community and its interaction with regular military and IPMS standard modelers. Something, as a community, you all should be proud of. Like a workshop, and generally the Victorian Gunpla community has also transferred its flagship event to Anamanga at the old exhibition building. And with a lot of these achievements as a community going from strength to strength, 2015 seems to be quite a big and bright year of receiving invitations to more conventions and doing better and greater things. Behind a lot of these community events and me being the front of the in-person meetings, I would like to thank someone who's definitely been working tireless in the background and founding the group Gunpla Builders Australia, Ghostofzeon. He's been putting a lot of effort in maintaining the old forum, the Facebook page, as well as attending all the events, helping out at those, and running online group builds and competitions for the Australian community at large, which has been quite successful this year as well. Now, straight into all of the personal builds. I'll start with informal joke projects, all of the 72nd armour, and finishing with the more serious Gundam builds and paint jobs. As a lot of you know, I love mixing up figures, modifying toys, chopping up girly figures, and adding weapons to them for the interesting Strike Witches Mecha Musume look developed by Fukaman, and did 3 models. A larger one depicting multiple figures of the Iron Duke battleship, and a Fate Stay Night saber figure. This required a lot of work and was displayed at Model Expo. I've got a small modification to finish on it before it's displayed on the YouTube channel. The traditional smaller figures I did was somewhat of a Type 97 girl. I really like this model. I think it came out absolutely great. Chopped up many figures and an entire model kit for that one. And the M10 girl with her very classic and standard gun barrel in its very interesting position. These ones were of a lot of fun, but can't really push them too hard in competitions for obvious sakes. I did build a massive amount of armour, just heaps, and the interesting part of many different vintages, styles, brands and types, including resin and metals. Got here the Christie, the first tank that I worked partially on last year and finally got to finish this year. A very tricky build. The aim of building a lot of these armour kits also helped me get familiar with other materials like your resins, pour casted resins and metals. Really got into the S model brand this year. They're just so much fun and so great to put together. Enjoyed the anime Girls and Panzer, so definitely a few of those armours were put together in inspiration of that series. Got Samuel decals to print out some custom decals for the all the main markings. Some of them made up, some of them quite prominently displayed in the show. Last year, as the theme to my last year's Gunpla Builders World Cup project sort of encompasses a lot of armour modelling techniques, I focused on making a few of them to improve my modelling skills. Funnily enough, that did occur, though I really got into it and continued it this year. Really into ethics as well. They proved to be quite popular on YouTube, as not too many reviewers out there of it. Same with the popular S models, but sort of a long-term goal that I have for the next few years is I'd like to get every single 76 scale FX tank done, painted and reviewed on the channel, as well as the S model kits. But I'll continue build them, and I'd like to put out the same output for next year at a higher modelling standard, particularly painting. In the way of my Gundam builds, a lot of my focus was on the Gunpla Builders World Cup build, and I really wanted to heavily improve in painting. So I started the honing your airbrush skills, wanted to get more familiar with the mechanics, the cleaning, maintaining of an airbrush, as long as finer techniques of shading and doing fine lines. The first kit was the X Gundam, which was sponsored to me by Hobbyco after a competition, and entered this into another group build, which did extremely well. Did fairly heavy pre and post shading, and did everything in out-of-the-box colours, modified and seam lines filled according to the box art and instructions. So purely out-of-the-box build. Fun project I had on the go for a while, and just knocked together a no-grade vintage GM cannon. This was hand built, all seam lines filled, and the majority hand painted, with a little airbrushing and heavy masking on the side. Did not rely on any shading whatsoever, and tried to give it a bit of grime, dirt and weathering effect purely with the use of inks, filters, dry brushing and whatnot. So I got to give it a fairly heavy and robust dirty look, and built up a tanning or an orangish colour by shellacking the whole model and clear coating it. The Dowage I built a very long time ago, and tested it as my first Zimmer model. Put him aside. Really wanted to have a feel of little hand painting, but mostly airbrushing camouflage. So I picked him up again, primed him, and spent a fair while painting him with a very interesting, unique and custom decal scheme. He is probably one of my most favourite builds of the year, and fairly popular. The Doge is a very good example of my style and unique method of attacking models and interest in vintage and older subjects. Gunpla Builders Australia forum and Facebook page hosted a painting competition. So you had to build a model out of the box, no modifications, and purely paint it. I had 2 weeks to tackle this guy and buckled down and heavily focused on salt, weathering and other weathering techniques, including shading. And came up with this result. Very happy how it came out and really enjoyed it. And I think this is generally the future where a lot of my modelling is going to be heading, except obviously a lot more scratch building and modifications. He has done very well in a lot of displays and competitions that I've entered him in, and he's probably the best paint scheme I've ever done on a model, though I think I could probably do a lot better very shortly. This is my big and tireless build and diorama for the Gunpla Builders World Cup, and I absolutely went all out with originality and scratch building. 6 models and a very large base. Spared no capital in its construction and painting, and learnt a ton, as I always do every year with Gunpla Builder World Cup competitions. Each weapon scratch built from raw materials, custom decal scheme developed, and just spent absolute ages airbrushing it. Unfortunately, it was a far overly ambitious project and probably a bit too weird and way out there for your typical Gundam modelling. I still felt it did very well, as it still netted in the top 10 in the competition, and displayed quite well and was quite popular to boot. Directly after the Gunpla Builders World Cup, I took my hiatus for a few months in making content and contributing to the community. I did, however, work on this diorama for the Forgotten Relics competition with Gunpla Builders Australia, and just really captured and was fascinated with the concept and idea of building something that's been abandoned from a previous conflict. I built 2 GAZA Cs. This is the first one, heavily modified and battle damaged in a snow diorama. Really got into it and came out with quite a satisfying and nice result. This again also won the competition. Re-emerging into the fold, Gundam Club Australia ran a general Gunpla Builders Fighters competition, building a kit that would represent you if you existed in the anime. And I really wanted to go out and a kit that I would like to use in a build fighters situation, and attacked my 2 favourite mobile suits, the Kubele and Gelgug. Mixed them all together, quite a bit of putty scratch building, tank zimmerit and tank painting, of course, to give it a bit of a panzer look, organic sensors all over the place, funnels, and a scratch built weapon being a Danax. Very rare weapon to the Gundam universe. He also did quite well, scoring in the top 10 position, though the competition was quite stiff due to the prize pool. Now, my final Gundam model for the year, the GAZA C, the second one, built at the same time as the diorama, though slowly painted, fleshing out and learning a lot more about painting. The winner of the Gunpla Builders World Cup Australian Heat was MOTD, and his painting is just absolutely masterful. Wonderful work, especially in airbrush and hand painting shading. Now I'm taking some pages out of his chapter, as well as getting a few lessons, and attempted to do a very similar style of shading that I saw that he did to a goof. So shaded up and airbrushed up this kit, pearl finish, decals, to finish off the year for Gundam modelling for me. And this leaves me at a very interesting point of trying to trump it next year. As this year is coming to a close, I purchased a 3D printer. and printed off this Full Metal Alchemist helmet. I went to the effort of putting it, sanding it, and cleaning it up to make it look like from a 3D printed to a scale model, and then airbrushing it up. The base I drafted to my own design for the helmet to fit on, and have a feeling of creating my own components out of my imagination and adapting it to the existing models that I'm building. This is going to be a very interesting turn point in my hobby for next year. And that, everybody, concludes my hobby year. Thank you very much for supporting me and continuing with everything that's been happening throughout the year. I hope a lot of you enjoyed the content that I've created over the past 12 months. For a lot of the new subscribers that have jumped on during the journey, you have a bit of a backlog of content to watch that I've made over the years, as well as a lot of interesting new content I'm going to be making in the future. Thank you very much for following me. If you have any ideas for next year or like to see me go in a certain direction, make a comment below. I'm up for discussion, absolutely anything. And looking forward to making more videos next year. After tonight and in the first week of January, I'll make a video announcing the plans for next year, which will be quite interesting. My Gunpla Builders World Cup model will be started very early as well, though a lot of the concept and models have been hoarded for that. As well as in the same week, the announcement of my 3,000 subscriber video will be coming out. There'll be a big competition. The prize has already been organised, and there'll be a few weeks to get things together to have that happening. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, Happy New Year everybody, and tell me how your modelling year went. Catch you later.